In the first episode, I talked about how the mortgage business changed my life. In this episode, I want to slow things down and show you how I actually think about mortgages because most of the conversations out there is noise. And the biggest mistake people make is trying to decide whether something is good or bad instead of asking whether it actually fits their life. Mortgages aren't opinions, they're tools, and tools only make sense when you know what you're trying to build. Every time a new loan product comes out, the industry reacts the same way. Some people immediately say it's dangerous, and others say it's a solution to affordability. And that's exactly what's happening with the 50-year mortgage. But what most people don't realize is this isn't the first time we've had this conversation. At one point, the 15-year mortgage was the norm. Then the 30-year became popular, and people said the same thing. People will never pay off their homes. This is irresponsible. This encourages bad decisions. And yet, the 30-year mortgage became the backbone of homeownership. So whenever I see outrage, I ask a different question. What problem is this trying to solve, and for who? A 50-year mortgage doesn't mean you're committing to a house until you're 90. This is assuming you're 40 years old. That assumption alone tells me the conversation has gone sideways. You're not married to your mortgage. You can sell the home, you can refinance, you could pay extra and treat it like a 30-year loan. So the real question isn't, is a 50-year loan smart? It's, what does this option allow you to do right now? Let's use a real example. If saving $200 or $300 a month allows a family to get into a better school district, I understand why that matters. Most parents would happily trade a long-term loan today to give their kids a better environment now. That doesn't mean it's a forever plan. It means it's a bridge. The danger isn't the loan term. The danger is using a lower payment to buy more house than you should without a plan. And that distinction matters. Life doesn't move in a straight line. People change jobs, families grow, relationships change, markets change. I've seen people buy a home together and then separate. I've seen people upgrade sooner than expected. I've seen people refinance, and I've seen people never touch their loan again. That's why I don't think in 30 or 50 years absolutes. I think in 3-year windows, 5-year windows, and sometimes 10. If you end up staying long term, great. You can always pay the loan like a short term loan. But flexibility matters more than perfection, especially early on. And flexibility usually has a cost. The question is whether the cost is worth it to you. Now let's talk about the Fed rate cuts, because this is another area where people get confused. When the Feds cut rates, they're changing the cost of overnight money between banks. That doesn't mean automatically mortgage rates drop. A simple way to think about this is lower costs don't force lower prices unless competition or risk changes. Mortgage rates are driven by long-term market risk and investor demand, especially the 10-year treasury, rather than by headlines. That's why sometimes the Feds cut and mortgage rates barely move, and sometimes mortgage rates move before the Feds does anything. This is about risk, not generosity. There's also a psychological piece nobody talks about. Let's say you bought a home at a higher rate. A few years pass, rates come down a bit. Now you're thinking, do I really want to refinance and reset my loan term? Or do I want to just ride this out? A lot of people choose to wait, not because it's optimal, but because it feels better. It's the same behavior you see in investing. People hold on to losing positions because they don't want to lock in regret. That's not a math problem. That's human behavior, and good mortgage decisions account for that. My job isn't to predict the market. It's to help you make decisions you won't regret when life changes. If you want to pressure test your situation and walk through the trade-offs with you, give me a call or send me a comment. In the next episode, I'm going to break down mortgage products the way a club fitter breaks down golf equipment. So you stop guessing and start choosing.